Morning everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Jan Kilstra. I'm a dairy farmer from Saskatchewan, Canada. Figure we'd start today's video by checking out some of our crops, and we are right now standing in our rye field. You guys saw us put fertilizer on this field with the drill early this spring, then we rolled it, and I also showed you guys some in-crop spraying for this field. So you guys have seen quite a bit of the work that went into raising this crop, and now we're standing in it right now. It had obviously the spring melt. This stuff was planted last fall, so it had the moisture from all the snow melting this spring. It had one shot of rain worth 3/4 of an inch, so around 20 millimeters. And then in the last week, it also had another 1.25 or 35 mils of rain. So it hasn't had a whole lot of moisture, and we're really impressed with how this crop is looking right now. 2 weeks ago, we were not so optimistic, but it kind of shot up out of nowhere. And we're standing in between two of the different varieties. So I believe this is ProGas and this is the common variety. Common variety is probably 6 inches to a foot taller than the hybrid variety here. But it looks to me that this hybrid variety has more leaf on the stem, so they might ton out pretty similar in terms of feed. We are still going to be chopping this even though we got the rain. We just need that food security for the dairy farm, which is unfortunate because I'm sure we'd get a lot of straw off of this field and a lot of good grain, but it is the way it is. The key to chopping this stuff is going to be taking it at a higher moisture content, 65 to 70%, which is pretty usual, but we can't let it get any drier than that because it is a rough on crop. So what that means, all the hairs on the head here are rough, and that can cause issues to cows that are eating it. And the way to avoid those issues is just to take it with enough moisture content in there. So yeah, this crop overall has surprised us a lot. This is probably going to be the highest tonnage crop we've ever taken off of this sandy piece of land that we got here. Standing in a good part of the field right now, but some of it is actually coming up to my chest, and I'm 6'3", so it's completely blown our minds how well this crop is done for this piece of land. And yeah, it's pretty, you can definitely tell the difference between the varieties here. The common stuff, and then this is ProGas, so it all looks pretty good. You can see here, this is a poorer part of the field. Just didn't do so well. This stuff is probably only a foot tall, but there's still some feed here, and these heads will fill out now with that rain, so there'll be some good feed value to this stuff as well. But on average, this field is going to do pretty good compared to what it usually does. We'll be out here with the chopper 7 to 10 days from now probably. We got to take it pretty early to keep that moisture content up. That'll definitely be the earliest we've ever chopped a cereal crop. But I'm looking forward to getting in here and doing some chopping. Actually checking it out this morning's made me really excited. We're at one of our barley fields now. We seeded a total of 1,500 acres of barley this year. We just committed all of our acres on the farm to grow and forage and feed for the cows. Hopefully, if we continue to get those nice shots of rain, we'll be able to combine some of this barley and feed it as grain. We'll save a lot of money like that, but we got to get the rain yet. This is what the barley's looking like now though. It's a lot smaller than the last rye field we just checked out. This stuff was seeded this spring. That rye was seeded last fall, that's why. But this stuff is looking awesome. The field's pretty even because it was young and got all consistent rain popped out of the ground, whereas that rye, the lower spots are a lot taller, just suffered a bit of drought. But this field is just looking 10 out of 10 right now. It'll be at least another month before we're in this field chopping it up, but I think it's time for me to head back to the farm and get some real work done. First thing I'm doing at the farm this morning is checking out the lights in our barns. We run Artex lights, and a couple of them have been blowing out. They got a 5-year warranty on them though apparently, so we're gonna let the dealer know exactly how many are blown out and they'll come and replace them, I guess. So that's pretty good. We've put quite a bit of Artex stuff in our barns here, and they've pretty much covered everything that has gone wrong with them. Excellent warranty from Artex. So got some sunglasses so I can look straight at those lights and see exactly how many need to be replaced. Okay, so that's pretty good. I guess we got 10 in the freestall barn here. And there's only one that's missing 2 LEDs. We'll go check out the parlor barn now. We got a bunch more in the parlor and the holding area. Those 2 are blown out, so that's 3 total. We're in the feedlot now. We're gonna be processing our steers, which are in Corral 5 and Corral 4. We're gonna be giving them some growth hormones. I know those have a terrible rep in the agricultural industry. That's just the result of a few marketing campaigns. The reality is these steers are gonna be marketed in the grocery store as hormone-free. The hormones are no longer traceable in the meat once they get to those grocery store shelves. And there's been a ton of studies done researching the impact of those hormones, and there's been absolutely nothing negative as a result for the humans. So it's just a tool, modern technology that farmers can use to raise these steers a lot more efficiently. I actually read a study last week. You're able to raise the steers to finishing weight, 1,500 pounds, 21% quicker than if you just did it completely naturally. And then in that time, they're gonna have a 23% better feed efficiency. Those numbers are incredible. If you put that across all the steers raised in North America, that's honestly a miracle that that's able to happen. So for those of you that really are interested in the environmental aspect of agriculture, imagine needing to raise 20% less feed to get the same result. That's phenomenal. And to raise them that much quicker is also incredible. And another good thing I guess I could say about them, when we raise steers, we will pick a random guy out of the corral and we will bring him to the butcher and we'll eat him ourselves. So we do that probably a couple times a year, the family. My parents bring them to the butcher and we just pick them straight out of our corrals, and that's the meat that we eat. We eat what we raise. So that's, I guess, the most honest quality control you can have. It's always been delicious meat and nothing wrong with it. So that's what we're doing this morning. We got to set our chute up for the steers. The last animals we processed through this thing were little calves that came out of the barn. So the alley is really skinny, so we got to broaden that thing up. It is adjustable. You can see none of those steers are going to be able to fit through this thing, so we'll open it up a bit. The way we get the animals from the corrals into our chute handling system, we just dump the whole corral into the alley and then we chase them to the back where these gates are closed, and that diverts them into the pens over here, and our chute is right over there. So that's how that all works. We got pen 5 in the holding pen here. We'll run them through the chutes one by one. Come on, guys. Yo. Hey, 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 hey. You can see a couple already just go straight into the alley. You can close this back door whenever. So this bar pushes the steer's head over sideways, holds him pretty still. And then that's the implant in the ear. Nothing to it. Those guys are all done. 50 maybe took half an hour tops. We can just let these guys straight back into their own corral. Taking the next corral out. These guys are a lot smaller. Brought in the big guns back up right here. All right, jump in that mud, dude.
Be my guest?
No, you go first.
Age before beauty.
Yeah, that rain is always pretty nasty for the corrals, but they've been drying up pretty good. We just finished up the younger corral number 4. So we did well over 100 steers this morning. We're just about to get cows in the milking parlor here for the afternoon shift. It is plus 32 degrees outside right now. It's humid. We just got a severe thunderstorm watch in the forecast. Today is a disgustingly hot day, and it's the hottest day so far of the year. So should be a nice, enjoyable milking. Just grabbing group 1 here, putting them in the holding area. I'm walking down the center alley though because I want to get to the exhaust fence at the back of the barn. You guys can see right now there's only 6 on, and that's because for the spring we don't want to turn all 10 of them on because it's not really necessary. You're just burning excess power. It ain't free, so we don't do it. But now above 30 degrees, that kind of warrants putting all 10 fans on. So I just want to quickly turn those on before we get milking today. It is incredibly simple to turn these guys on. It's just those switches like that, and they will fire right up. The barn looks way wider once you turn all 10 of those fans on. I think it looks awesome, but you can definitely tell the difference in the front of the barn here and throughout the entire thing. There's way more of a breeze in here. The ventilation's way stronger now, which is good. Neline's gonna soak the holding area right now. But that definitely helps the cows stay cool while they're waiting there to be milked. They're only ever in that holding area for 1 hour and 15 minutes anyway. So that's max. That's not too bad either. The air conditioning in that skid steer, 2 out of 10. I could probably blow out the cabin air filter and the rads as well. Get that thing working a little bit better. We're back in the milking parlor, and it's actually really nice in the parlor right now. The tunnel ventilation at the back of the barn pulls so much cold air through the front door here. You guys can probably hear the wind in the video, but Neline's got a better strategy for staying cool. She wears Crocs in the milking parlor. That's kind of unreal.
Nice. You can just spray them with water, with cold water. Cools you right off.
Hey, good for you, man.
You know the most alarming thing though? How white my feet are.
Yeah, those are pretty white. I could never wear like no socks while I'm working. I don't know how she does that, but good for you.
It's comfortable for me.
Right on. We just finished milking up. I noticed Miriam was cleaning the bulk tank. So she's gonna explain to us exactly what she's doing here.
It's pretty simple. You just take a towel and you clean the tank.
How often do you clean the tank?
I clean it once a week, normally on Fridays, but I wasn't able to yesterday. So today I clean it now.
Today it is?
Saturday.
How long does it take you to keep this whole thing looking this nice?
The tank itself, 20 minutes, not even.
20 minutes once a week?
Yeah.
Right on.
15. But I also clean around the tank because otherwise you have mud spots here. Like young just run in.
I didn't do that.
Yeah. Right? Just clean when I was working with it.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with my sisters. Neline was wearing Crocs in the parlor, and now you're wearing boots with shorts.
It's 32 degrees.
Yeah, I grew up outnumbered, so I learned to tease my sisters a little bit. Usually didn't end up too good, but that's the way it goes, I guess, when you have 2 sisters. Anyway, it is super hot and super humid today. So there's always the chance of thunderstorms. The weather app, the weather network, that's the one that I always use. I put an alert out for a severe thunderstorm watch. So it's always something to consider on nights like this. You could get a thunderstorm. It could cause some pretty big power outages around, and the dairy farm, it's crucial. It always has power 365 days a year. We got to milk those cows twice a day, and we can't just skip a day. That would be catastrophic. If we didn't milk the cows for an entire day, probably half of the herd would have mastitis, and it would just be so terrible. We just can't afford that. So to make sure that we always have power, we have 2 generators on the farm. We're looking at the newer one here. This is the 3-phase generator, and it powers all of the newer buildings on our dairy farm. This generator is capable of running absolutely everything on our dairy farm. It's not underpowered at all. Everything, we can turn every fan on, the milk pump, every auger, motor, everything will run with this generator. It's a little bit overpowered for us, but that's better than being underpowered. The generator shed is set up so that this thing will automatically turn on. When it does that, the louvers open up to feed this thing air so it can stay cool. Those are a set of louvers. There's some electric solenoids there. They'll pop open. Same as at the front where the rad is for this generator. It's got a pretty good block heater on there. It just keeps all the oil in the engine hot. You can't even keep your hands on there. This is 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's that hot. So it'll turn on in a second when it needs to. So that thing turns on after the power is out for 10 seconds. And we also have another generator, and that's for all the older construction on our dairy farm and my parents' house. That is a single-phase generator. You have to turn that one on manually. It still powers everything else. But we'll see what happens tonight. Thank you guys for watching today's video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya.